Number 12, Jordan Shepard. Number 21, Gina Theodore. Number 22, Rachel Kaiser. And number 34, Corina Gordon. And now the starters for Carrollwood Day. They enter time state with a record of 27 wins and 1 loss.
If you're a basketball fan and a high school fan in the state of Florida, this is where you want to be right now. The RP Funding Center, and on slate is the 4A state championship. Miami Country Day and the Spartans going for their 6th in a row up against Carrollwood Day and the Patriots, a rematch from a year ago. Welcome inside. I'm Jasmina Barton, joined by Andrick Frazier for today's broadcast. You're watching on Spectrum Sports. The 4A title game, like we said, Miami Country Day had their best of Carrollwood Day last year, but how'd these two teams get here, right? Miami Country Day and the Spartans defeating their opponents by 30-plus points to land back in this title game. They're ranked number 1 in the country right now, while Carrollwood Day, they had an easy breezy kind of route back here, but they've made 3 straight trips, and they haven't walked away with gold, Andrick.
Well, this is a ball club in Carrollwood that is looking for redemption this year. Despina, they played a very difficult schedule. The only blemish on their record so far this year, I believe, was to a Winter Haven ball club, which is a defending 2-time state champion here in Lakeland as well.
Yeah, a big reason for the success for the Spartans has been Coy Love, who is behind number 5. They're getting ready to have her number called. The senior signed with Vanderbilt, a promising career ahead of her.
All-around point guard, very solid performance yesterday. She's extremely efficient, 23 points in 23 minutes on 11 shots.
And then for the other side in Carrollwood Day, it's Terry Anna Gary, with number 22 here, coming up, a junior for this group that has made 3 straight trips here.
Very young ball club, but a lot of basketball experience. This is a team that wants to get up and down. They forced 23 steals yesterday. That's been about only committing 6 fouls, play basketball, moving their feet on the defensive end, trying to get out in transition.
They call her T-Mac, by the way, Andrick. That's kind of a fun one to go with here in the broadcast. Let's look at the starting lineups for the Spartans here. Just about everybody back from a year ago. Alvarez there stands out. She's a USF commit. You get to see her play in Tampa next year. A couple of freshmen there in Shaw and Theodore. And then a big junior, 6'9", Chantel Gonzalez. And it's this guy, O'Keel Swaby, that's been leading this crew for the last 15 years. He says he's pretty excited about having the opportunity to go in the history books today. If his team wins, it'll be 6 straight in a row.
It continues to amaze me as a coach, the program he's been able to put together down in South Florida.
In Carrollwood Day, they have 4 of the 5 starters from last year's state championship game. The only new addition is Malia Perry there, the junior, as the forward position. She's probably the most outspoken one on this junior class. Harris, the point guard that will lead the way, and Tiaja McMillan and McGill down low. And their fearless leader here, Kareem Nora, in his 3rd season out of retirement, took this job here at Carrollwood Day, and they got a chip on their shoulder. Andrick, he said yesterday, he's like, this one sounds a lot like David versus Goliath, and he might have a rock in his pocket.
He may have a couple of rocks in his pocket. Coach Nora is no stranger to the state tournament. I mean, he's led several programs here in the past, still searching for that ever-elusive first state championship.
Getting ready for jump ball in the middle. It's Miami Country Day, and the Spartans wearing red. And Carrollwood Day in white, as Nora spends a few extra moments here talking with his team. Set to jump is Chantel Gonzalez, 6'9" center for the Spartans, and it looks like a little confusion here is going to jump for ball for CDS, but they're going to give this one right away with Jaden Harris going up.
You probably have a better job out there, Despina.
I did wear my Nikes, by the way, Andrew. An early contact as Sydney Shaw picked up her first foul.
Smart play by Gary, anticipating the back tap and coming away with an opportunity to get 2 from the charity stripe.
And this is her first. Terriana Gary, just a junior, already getting interest from Tulane. And you know how big of a recruiting year this is, the junior year, the summer after. First bucket of the game goes to Gary.
He's full court 2-2-1 trap on Carrollwood Day School.
Shaw here. Out to Theodore, a little reset. Both teams like to shoot the 3 ball, so I'm not surprised here that Theodore takes the first shot. Tracks down her own rebound. Shaw pulls up, no luck. In the paint battling, there was McGill.
Good job by McGill fighting to get inside. She's going to have her hands full tonight with Gonzalez.
Harris into McGill. Nabaria McGill gets blocked by Gonzalez with her first block of the game. 0 for 3 from beyond the arc so far to start things off for the Spartans.
Country Day a little cold from the outside to begin the contest.
Rolls in and out from McGill. And that one thrown away. Coach Nora likes that, though, because that's the first turnover for his team to get.
It's a team that forced 31 of those yesterday. It's going to be an advantage for Carrollwood Day School. It's going to have to be their ability to get out in transition. It's always positive to get stops early on in the game.
Perry inside to McMillan. Turn and shoot. And this is the first time Love has touched the ball. Corey Love went off for 23 points and 3 boards last night. Big block. Who wants it more? McMillan there. Love with a smart play here, but she's the last one to touch it, so it's going to stay Carrollwood Day ball.
So far in this contest, Despina, Carrollwood Day, I think, has been a little more assertive on the offensive side of the court. Electing to attack the basket and get into the paint. Not going to be intimidated by the size of Miami Country Day.
I think when I was talking to Nora yesterday, he goes, you know, the way this game played out last year was his team couldn't find any offense the last 6 minutes. So this had to be a big part of his game planning and attacking.
Getting to the free throw line is an easy way to score, especially for a good shooting ball club such as Carrollwood Day School.
Yeah, 2 minutes through, it's just a 1-0 game. Only point was scored on that free throw line, like you said, Andrick. Harris with the drive. Coy Love pulling it down. She'll scoot it up, and Harris with a nice steal. What's it going to take to penetrate this?
Well, this is a very widespread 2-3 zone, and when you have 6'9" in the middle, you know, how more intimidating could that possibly be? But they have to get some dribble penetration, especially in the gaps.
No shot clock here, which is in everybody's benefit at this rate.
Great high-low pass.
Harris keeping the play alive. Back rim and Love. 3 boards for Coy Love, who's headed to Vanderbilt next year. She'll take that 3. Give me that.
2 steps inside the NBA line.
Yeah, the Lakeland Magic blue all over this gymnasium now. I remember this place when it was called the Lakeland Center, but apparently it's the RP funding. A nice Euro step and lane on the left there for Terriana Gary. I'll take your 3 and I'll one-up you in the lane, my friend.
Great job in utilizing those shoulders to create space between her and the defender. Nice kiss off the glass. What a pass by Love.
Now we're having some fun, guys. 2-point game, Country Day out in front. They are the defending champs. They've won 5 straight state championships. And of course, this is the 2nd year in a row that these two are squaring up for the title. Off the foot of McMillan. Spartans moving now. We'll set up in the half court. Nice little pump fake there for Love. Harris pushing the ball up to Perry. Alvarez with the defensive play.
Good job, Alvarez moving her feet.
Gordon finds her lane. Too much there. Patriots. And Gary there with the finish.
Gary did a great job of changing pace and attacking the basket.
The Stars will come out to play. Look at this move. Oh, off the iron there from Love. 5-5 through 6 minutes of action here at the 4A State Championship. Andrick Frazier, Despina Barton here in the booth. As you're watching at home or on your mobile device, wherever you may be.
On your iPad, your Kindle.
People still have Kindle?
People still have Kindles. My mother-in-law has a Kindle.
You know, if I wasn't reading so many stat books and information guides, I think I would love a Kindle.
Really?
Yeah. On the beach, not too far away from here, as Alvarez takes her first three and drills it.
It's a great sign to get her going early.
Harris secures the ball on the other end, draws the contact on McCormick, and she'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Jaden Harris at only 5'2", showing you her toughness.
And she grew 2 inches since last year. Listed 5 foot.
Either that or she just has somebody working some magic with the pen, one of the two.
Misses both. The junior point guard. She was on the floor for 10.5 minutes yesterday, and Coach Norris says how much she does on the, dirty end of the job that doesn't show up in that stat book. Like, you see her taking care of Alvarez at this point.
That ability just to apply pressure, get up underneath the ball handler.
Harris cross court to McGill. Off the back rim. Spartans moving. In the corner, thought about it. McCormick gets it back to Alvarez. Alvarez, the only player on this Miami Country Day team, Andrick, that could potentially gather her 6th state title as well.
Wow. It's a little bit of hardware. You start moving to your second hand for rings. That's impressive.
Coach Akil Swaby said when she came through the program, she made them elite because she incorporated that 3-point shot, and that's what they were missing.
Nice pass, great cut. It's all created by spacing. That's just great floor spacing by Miami Country Day.
And they've got a 5-point lead as we have a timeout called here.
So here in a high 1-4 set and just a backdoor cut. I think Jaden Harris caught ball watching.
I think I was caught ball watching too.
Well, that's your job. It's a little different.
For everybody watching at home, we can look at the playoff history of these two programs. Miami Country Day, obviously since 2014, they've been running the table with all 5 of those state championship. Carrollwood Day, 3 straight trips here. The best finish up was last year and the year prior as the state runner-up. But this group of juniors that have been so consistent for Carrollwood Day, they're not content with leaving here again with a silver medal. So, I mean, there's certainly a chip, and they think that they could do this today if they take care of business.
They have to take care of the basketball first.
And right now, they're going down for the Spartans.
Miami Country Day was in a 2-2-1 three-quarter court trap. They've now gone to a diamond and one, and Carrollwood Day School having issues getting the ball across half court.
Coy Love takes it up her left.
She is very good with either hand attacking the rim.
She's got Well, she's got 3 rings already. She had 2 at Lake Highland Prep. I don't know if you remember. She played on that Destiny Walker team, who is now at UNC. And then the following year won a ring beside Jordan Lewis, who is at Alabama. Did not get a ring her sophomore year. And, of course, was here last year with the Spartans.
It's difficult to win multiple rings, even more difficult to win multiple rings with multiple teams.
McGill trying to save the play there. We'll try to put in a couple free throws.
Foul line is number 0, Sydney Shaw. That was her first personal.
And this team just not able to score these last few minutes.
2 for 11 so far in the first quarter, and not having much luck from the charity stripe either. Carrollwood Day has to take advantage of some of these easy opportunities on the offensive end.
And this is another one there as the Spartans have a 10-point lead. 60 seconds to play here in the first quarter of the 4A state championship. Big save there from Gary. Feed goes up to Perry. And that one's going against Coy Love.
Another opportunity for a run-out basket. Not converted by Carrollwood Day, but great job of pitching the basketball ahead as Harris, and the patience of Perry rewarded with an opportunities from the charity stripe.
Carrollwood Day now 2 for 5 from the free throw line. Just above that 25% mark. All right, this is what, they could use, right, to turn the tide?
Absolutely, you have to take advantage of opportunities from the charity stripe, but they have to also find ways to get stops with Coy Love. Nice defensive stop, 5-second call, the pressure.
Jaden Harris, that is where she comes up so clutch. Alvarez, by the way, only 3 points in this game. She averages 14. So good first quarter with that matchup.
So now the 2-3 zone comes back into play for Miami Country Day. Looks like CDS will be content with taking the last shot of the first quarter.
Harris with the ball. She's calling out the play. You see her put those 2 fingers up? She's telling Coach,
I thought she was
I'm
giving
the
peace.
play.
That's all. Just, peace and love.
10 seconds to go. Nah. Turn and look here from McGill. The feed goes on the baseline to Gary. Not gonna fall. And we have a traveling call against Nabawiya McGill.
0.3 seconds left. I can't even get a shot off.
Yep, and that's going to end the first quarter of play in this 4A state championship. It's Country Day out in front by 8, 15-7. That man right there, O'Keel Swaby, pretty happy with his Spartans' first quarter of play.
Discover who you want to be at Southeastern University. For enrollment information at Southeastern Fire Athletics, visit www.scu.edu.
8-point game here. And between the first and second quarters of action of the 4A state championship, the defending champs, Miami Country Day, out in front. O'Keel Swaby in his 15th season. This is a nice little graphic of the consecutive state championships here in the FHSAA. Him and Ribault are tied with 5 straight. You see Dillard, Laurel Hill, South Broward. If Miami Country Day wins today, they will set a new state record. Andrick Frazier, Despina Barton here in the booth for you. Maria Alvarez, the USF signee, just giving that ball up. Coy Love with a one-on-one. She'll save it down low. Shot no good for Gonzalez.
Coy Love just so dangerous. Catching the basketball at the high post. It counts as a pass to yourself, and then playing through contact just comes up short of a two-point attempt.
You know what's kind of crazy about Coy Love? She never gets really too high or too low. And I know that's coach speak, Andrick, but she's so composed all the time. Is that something you see at this level?
Not typically at high school. I mean, that is definitely a sign of maturity. And it's typically under control. Need a little bit of that even keel steadiness, you know, to kind of help settle things down for you. Everybody can't be, 100% going all the time like you, Despina.
I need to get her secrets after the game, huh? I don't know if we've mentioned this enough, but the Spartans are ranked #1 in the country right now, Andrick, by ESPNW, the 25 power rankings for a high school. They've only lost one game, and that was early on in the season to Tampa Tech. This team went out to Phoenix, won the holiday tournament, built a lot of confidence.
It's a Tampa Bay Tech ball club that will be playing tomorrow in the state semifinal.
Kareem Noah, his third season with this group, and he's happy to be back here.
Alvarez called napping.
Harris almost had her. Love waiting for the cutter. Will split the defenders instead and lay it in. Doesn't go for her left. Shaw saves the possession.
Coy Love did a great job of getting to the rim, just hasn't been able to convert.
All right, and the pressure doesn't stop, Andrick. Seems like Coach Swaby wants to get in front and stay that way.
Well, they have to find ways to get easy baskets. They're having a tough time scoring in the half-court sets.
Harris almost had that bucket. Alvarez off the back shoulder. Spacing a little off. Theodore pulls up the J from the free throw line.
Good job by Theodore coming to a controlled stop for the middle game jumper instead of forcing the basketball all the way to the rim.
That was a good read by Perry, but Gary saves the ball, and Alvarez feeds it up. Theodore in transition, what a block! CDS with the block, but nobody there to step out and box out Love.
Talk about the transition, now the pace is starting to pick up.
And there's got to be a lid on that bucket for CDS.
Gary was surprised at how wide open she was in the shot attempt.
They have not scored in this quarter. Trail by 12 here in the inbounds. It's Gary wide open off front rim. She gets her own board. All right, let's reset. McGill back out to Harris. And this is kind of what happened to them in that fourth quarter last year. They scored one bucket, and they were carrying the lead for the majority of the game. Big pull down there from Theodore.
Another run-out opportunity for Miami Country Day.
And it can't be that easy if the Patriots want to stay in this, right, Andrick?
No, especially the team coming out of a zone, taking the jump shot and getting beat in transition, just unacceptable.
And they're going to keep doing it. Theodore on the wing. Back out to Shaw. Gets tripped up on Harris. That's that defense. Loose ball. Picked up
Careless
there.
with the basketball in that possession by Theodore.
And Kareem Nora calls the timeout. Got to be pretty frustrated right here, right, Andrick?
You know, they can't find anything going offensively. They're not taking care of the basketball, not getting back in transition. Not much to be happy about right now if you're Coach Nora.
He's hoping, though, this is still could be salvaged, right? Third time's the charm. They were the runner-up last year and the year before. Lost to Miami, of course, Christian Day. And then to FAMU the year before in a smaller classification. That was actually the first year that Nora came back. He took a quasi retirement, which I always wonder, you know, I'm trying to work enough to get to retirement. Some people just can't stay away.
Listen, the man has been coaching basketball since I played 25 years ago.
Yeah, he was a former Academy of the Lakes head coach for 6 years. Led them to 5 trips to the Final Four. Retired in July, and I believe took this job like a few months later.
This is a Carrollwood Day school. You know, they want to build their athletic programs. They did a great job of attracting talented coaches to help their players get better.
Right now find themselves in a bit of a hole, 14-point deficit. Have yet to score here in the second quarter. Dizon changes all of that. Off the bench, the sophomore.
Great job of running the floor by Dizon.
That's a nice little tip-off, Dizon, too. Patriots feeling the pressure here. McGill will get called for traveling.
I thought there's a lot of contact on that drive by McGill. I like her being aggressive.
Eighth turnover of the day for the Patriots. Alvarez will miss from deep.
Now in a 1-2-2 half-court trap.
Nice defense there from the Spartans. The feed up to Love, and it's intercepted from Gary. Nice little move and finish. Yeah, from Nabawiya, McGill. Two and a half to play here in the first half of this 4A state championship. Alvarez gets it over to a wide open Theodore. McCormick. Making them pay. The fans like that one. This team extends their lead to 13.
Alvarez doing a great job of penetrating and kicking, finding the wide open teammate on the wing.
I think what's unique to O'Keefe Swaby's team is everybody can shoot and everybody can drive.
It's a very fundamentally sound ball club. Alvarez, great job keeping her chin up, eyes on the rim. It'll be a great addition to Jose Fernandez over in Tampa.
And you know, Jose doesn't usually recruit state kids. So for him to want you and for the matching to work out, it seems like Alvarez is going to fit right in. We talked about some of the national rankings for this team. Max Preps also has them #1 in the country. So ESPNW and Max Preps. Those are some of the other state teams. Montverde Academy out there in Lake County. Lake Island Prep and downtown Orlando, who will play in the 5A state championship coming up right after this game. So a lot of talent. And a pretty decent fan base, right?
Carrollwood Day School, roughly about 35, 40 miles from Lakeland. Much longer ride up the turnpike at I-4 for Miami Country Day.
pressure continues here in the second quarter. Feet up to Perry, and she takes some extra steps.
Neither team really shooting the lights out today, that's for sure. Cold start to this beautiful afternoon.
Alvarez says, I can get something going. And right on cue, she's got 6. Shooting 66% today from that
Such a
three-point
steady
line.
point guard. I mean, really great vision, handles the basketball, can shoot it. She's going to get stronger, of course, over time.
Nice block there from Coy Love. They just clog that lane so well. Karina Gordon, no go, we'll have a whistle.
I think Love was pushed in the back.
Man, I think USF could have used Alvarez this year with all their injuries.
Goodness. Well, she reminds me of Jasmine Sepulveda, who was on Jose's ball clubs on those back-to-back WNIT championship runs.
9 points for Coy Love, who will be headed to Nashville next year to play for Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt sent their coaches, so they're looking to pick up some other recruits.
Tell you what, I don't know why this young lady does not play more.
Ariana Dizon.
Does a great job of getting on the block. She moves well for her size.
Yeah, you gotta feel that their offense has been moving ever since she jumped out on the floor. Off back rim for Gary. Love securing the board. .18 advantage for Miami Country Day. Make it 21.
Long range bomb by Theodore.
It was a nice move from McMillan. And they'll get another shot here with the inbound. Andrew, what do you see? I mean, what does Carrollwood Day need to do to stop the bleeding here?
Well, they're going to have to find a way to make a shot from the outside. I mean, right now, Miami Country Day is really packing in the 2-3 zone. Somebody's going to have to step up and make one from outside.
Gary calling for it here this time. Too much. What a putback. Holy smokes, Ariana Dizon.
Really active on the offensive glass.
And if you're Carrollwood Day, you're going to go to the locker room saying what, Andrick? Down by 19.
We have to take care of the basketball. We have to try to find ways to make shots.
Right now, it's the Spartans out in front, 34-15 at the break of this 4A state championship. Spartans hoping to hold on and get their 6th in a row. We're going to take a short break here and have the second half coming up in just a few minutes.
early. They will be next door until 4 p.m. Be sure to head over for a great time and lots of local vendors.
right, third quarter of this 4A state championship is about to begin. It's Miami Country Day with the 19-point advantage, but we did see some positives here for Carrollwood Day heading into the half as far as their production that they've been getting from Ariana Design. 6 of those 8 points. Andrew, break down these first half stats for me too.
Really has come down to, one thing, and that's the ability to knock down long-range balls. Miami Country Day, 6 3-pointers made in the first half, shooting just under 50%. Carrollwood Day yet to make a 3-point field goal attempt while here in Lakeland.
And some people talk about these rims and these baskets, the depth perception. Do you believe any of that?
Well, I mean, honestly, it does impact you if you've never played in this environment before. But, this is a Miami Country Day team that is accustomed to playing in this game historically. I think we could tell that by the number of rings on that young man's finger across the way from us, Coach O'Keel Swaby.
I'm not sure if he brought them into the gym today, but for anybody who's just joining us, he's got 5 straight state championship rings at home, going for his 6th here today, which would set a new state record. This is a rematch of last year's 4A title game. Carrollwood Country Day and the Patriots fell to the Spartans last year. They've been here 3 straight trips, hoping to leave here with a comeback they can talk about for the ages. Whew. And Amani Theodore opening up the third quarter with another 3.
This is a Miami Country Day squad that did not even go into the locker room for halftime. He said maybe 30 seconds worth of words, and then they stayed out on the court to get shots up and pick it up right where they left off at the end of the first half.
Well, I mean, Swaby talked about, it's great being here, and it's going to mean a lot for him and this team with all the hard work they put together to become a powerhouse and to become a part of history. But they've got bigger goals, Andrick. This is a team that's gone to the national tournament 2 previous years and won it all at Dick's. So going to New York is really the main goal. And a Coach Swaby's talked about, it starts with taking care of business today.
Absolutely. I mean, in order to get to New York, you have to take care of business on the way to New York. And this has become a customary trip for them. You think they just pack their bags straight from here and go over to Tampa National Airport and hop the bird and they're out, or take up a little bit of time off?
Well, I hope they get some food in between. There's some good food around here. I know we were talking about it during the break.
I'm looking at some of these young ladies' bodies, and I don't think they're built for Fred's. They need high-octane quality food.
If anybody's listening at home, Andrew Frazier and myself, Destina Barton, will certainly take some Freds here in between games. Our bodies are built for it, right?
Oh, absolutely built for it. That's the thing that kind of, the new format now, with the semis on one day, the finals, not a lot of time in between games. So definitely have to check the Uber Eats app and see if we can get a little bit of delivery happening.
Yeah, because we've got that 5A state championship coming up at 4:30. I know you got another game with Austin Lyon coming up this evening. It's busy here in the RP Funding Center.
See Coach Kareem Noor electing to go with Ariana Design for the start in the second half.
She gave them a lot of energy off the bench in the second quarter if they try to break through this press. I think Coach Nora was reading up on your halftime notes because spotting up was Jaden Harris waiting for the ball.
I think they're unsure of themselves on the offensive end. Country Day is doing a good job of changing defenses, but there's no identity right now offensively for Carrollwood Day School.
Harris to McGill.
McGill's accustomed to catching that basketball and maybe having somebody 5'10" in front of him, not 6'9", outstretched.
Boy, I love doing work in the paint. That one rolling in and out. Jaden Harris pushing the ball forward. Nabawiya McGill wild off that left side. What a strip. And can they make a count? Gary spots up. Alvarez sneaking away with the ball this time. Alvarez, the USF commit. We'll see her play at the Yingling Center next year for the Bulls and Jose Fernandez.
Nice pass.
And Chantel Gonzalez finishes the play there from Alvarez. All right, Gary, what you got?
Just the intimidation factor there by Gonzalez alone. Alvarez here coming off the high ball screen as she turns the corner, eyes on the rim, a nice diamond. Soft touch.
Chantel Gonzalez kind of played the fake there. I didn't know that she knew the ball was coming to her.
You got to stay ready when you're a big man in the post, especially with a great point guard like Alvarez.
Boy, Love with a little
Nice
left tap
pass.
there. The feed into Sydney Shaw. This team's pretty much having their way.
I mean, they're running pro sets out here. I mean, that's just a high rub screen.
And then on the other end, we're going to throw in a block for Gonzalez. You can feel it, Andrick. You can feel how much in control this Spartans team is of this game.
And another soft touch by Gonzalez. I think, again, just the body language, the lack of emotion.
This is clearly a business trip to make sure that the National Committee is paying attention and that they have earned no space to be questioned to get that invite.
On the country, they continuing to get stops and converting on the other end.
A 30-point advantage at this point. And ending the bleeding there was Terry Anna Gary. Gary with just 5 points in this contest after going off for 14 and 13 yesterday in the semifinal. All right, Theodore, that one way off. Would you have caught an over the back there on Chantel Gonzalez?
You have to physically go over someone's back. I mean, she's over her head on that rebound.
This game much closer a year ago. The final 57-45, so a 12-point game from a year ago. And you would think with all your key members, the majority of them returning for the 5 starters for Coach Nora here, that we would see something pretty similar. But I mean, how do you explain this, Andrew?
Well, again, you have a ball club, and I think they're just playing with a lot more confidence.
Dizon, the answer.
Dizon continues to have the hot hand.
She leads all scorers for Carrollwood Day. We're going to have a blocking call against Coy Love.
That was her second personal, first team foul.
Swaby's still screaming. Wants his team to play some tough defense. You can't rest, right, Andrick?
Oh, not at all. You definitely want to keep the pedal down. You have to get used to finishing contests and games. You can't allow good teams to hang around.
Fouling country is number 23, Jordan Love. That's her third personal, second team foul.
Love with back-to-back personal fouls. So on the free throw line, we get Nabawia Miguel, the junior. And this is the first. She's getting some college interest from Murray State, UNF. Karina Gordon, see you later. From 3, Miami Country Day is
a
just
difficult team to guard when they can space you out at all 5 positions and make shots and put the basketball on the floor.
When I asked Swaby about that one loss to Tampa Bay Tech, and they're rolling now. He said that, you know, he didn't have his team ready. It was a 4-hour ride to Tampa Bay Tech, and he said, you know what? That was a great team. Obviously, we're going to see them tomorrow here in the semifinals. But he couldn't get his girls ready to step off that bus and get ready to play. They just got outworked. And since then, I mean, he called that a good loss, right? You need something like that.
Yeah, every now and then you need something to rattle the cage, right, to kind of wake you up. But that is a ball club. But Tampa Bay Tech, they have a lot of similarities. I mean, they don't have the overall size, but they have 3 or 4 guards that can really handle the basketball. They can handle pressure.
This one off for McCormick. Ball gets to Gary. And who's there to read it? Coy Love. Karina Gordon again, this time from the other side of the rim. Final minute here in the third quarter.
She cannot miss today.
Ariana Dizon. 12 points, Andrick, and like you said, 6 for 6. Everything's got to go through her, right? If you want to stand a chance.
Whether you have a chance or not, she has the hot hand. And speaking of hot hands, Alvarez from NBA range.
Alvarez 3 for 5 from 3. 9 points on the game as her team is moving here in transition. Nice finish from Karina Gordon, the 8th grader. Final 10 seconds. And the passes now.
Seem longer. That's what happens when you get tired.
Big shot here from Dizon. Misses her first field goal of the game as the third quarter comes to an end. It's Miami Country Day out in front by a lot, 59-23, on their way to potentially winning their 6th straight state championship. And we talked about that lone loss earlier in the year to Tampa Tech, but this Spartans team didn't have a district. They had to go out and schedule tough. They went out to Phoenix. They won out there. I mean, looking at this, these are just against the state of Florida semifinalists that are here. So the caliber here in the state, but Coach Swaby, has gone out to perfect the schedule to continue challenging them.
I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And this Florida Prep Ball Club is probably one of the best shooting all-around teams we've seen. And, there they are beating them by 42 points. I mean, that's amazing. But, what I've noticed about high school basketball as it relates to our girls here in the state of Florida is the great teams are not afraid to play each other no matter of classification. And that's the big girls, 8As, 9As, all the way down to the 1As. And that makes these teams so much stronger come March.
And now just 8 minutes away from earning their 6th straight here on this floor at the RP Funding Center. Desvina Barton in booth alongside Andrick Frazier. And we're going to get another spot up 3 from Gordon. No go and a foul against Chantel Gonzalez. The fight's not going away, though, from the CSD team.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. They're going to play until the final horn.
Considering, Andrick, that Carrollwood Day gets everybody back, I mean, what changes do you see that need to happen this offseason for this team to get over this hump?
They got to get better. Individually, they have to get better. You have to spend more time in the lab. They have to work on their ability to shoot the basketball. They have to get stronger. I mean, off seasons are where the gains are made. I mean, we saw the schedule, the tough schedule that Miami Country Day played, and that's great. But they became champions in the off season. You become champions the day the final horn sounds, and you're back in the weight room. You're back in conditioning. You're back getting shots up.
And for the Spartans, they're going to lose 2 big seniors, Maria Alvarez to USF next year, who would be collecting her 6th state title consecutive with this program here today. And of course, Coy Love, who is off to Vanderbilt next year. And creating this dynasty. I mean, how do you fight off complacency and then also continue to build that next generation.
I think it starts over there on the sideline. It starts with great leadership and coaches. You know, but what I think they've done too is they continue to have a mixture of young players that learn from the best, right? So you have these players that come in that play as 8th graders and freshmen that are out there with Alvarez and they're out there with Love and they're seeing the way they work. And so that becomes how you're measured. You know, you're not measured by winning championships. You're measured by winning 6 or winning 5 because that's what Alvarez was able to do.
And it's different groups of girls, of athletes coming through. And like you said, on the floor right now, we're seeing freshman Imani Theodore and Sydney Shaw, a freshman, stepping out for the game, high-fiving it up. Shaw finished with 8 points and 5 rebounds. Like you said, as a freshman, this experience is invaluable.
And once you make the trip up here, you have a chance to stay overnight and you eat the buffet at Fred's, you want to come back.
Or like me, and get the itis and go take a nap and then come back.
Or just, you know, take a nap here in the RP Funding Center. Not to say that I've seen you do that before, but.
Well, we've had some great years here, calling some games as Imani Theodore drains another 3, a freshman guard on the floor. 13 points for her. We have a blocking foul called against Gonzalez. Let's talk about Chantel Gonzalez, just a junior, 6'9". The size isn't going anywhere either.
Surely is not, and she's going to get better over the offseason. I love her touch.
And that one off for Dizon. Little added bump there. But you got to appreciate how hard she plays.
Foul Carrollwood's number 4, Ariana Dizon. That's her second personal, second team foul.
4 minutes left in this 4A state championship. Miami Country Day with the heavy advantage, 62-25, as this ball is going to be
Thought he called a
reversed.
foul.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something.
The Patriots get the ball back. Try and make the most of it, which they do. Melanie Perry, the freshman guard, with the 3 from the corner. And her sister here, Malia, keeping that possession alive. All right, Country Day on the move. Christina Godfrey, the lefty, is off. Track it down.
Does a great job of running the floor.
Perry. Give it to inside to McMillan.
Gonzalez gets the basketball, keeps it above her head.
Empty possession there as Coach O'Keel Swaby has his second string check in. Gets some playing time here. Last 3 minutes of action. This Miami Country Day team pretty excited because you know what, Andrick? They're making history today.
And I was here with you to witness it. How about that?
You know, a few years from here, Andrick, we'll be talking about this day as Swaby's team gets 6 straight in a row, technically in 253, but they will become the longest standing consecutive wins team in the state of Florida, surpassing Ribault, who held on to that record for quite a few years.
Talk about some iconic programs.
This team will also kindly close out its Florida high school season with a 22-game win streak. And right now, it's got to be kind of crazy. Your nerves have got to be going, you know, jittery on the sidelines. I mean, What do you think is going through these seniors' minds specifically, Andrew?
I mean, it's one of those things, where all the work that we put in, is all the stuff in the offseason is paying off. And again, to think about the opportunity to go to New York and compete for another national championship.
Yeah, only 4 girls basketball teams get an invitation to the Dick's National Invitational in New York, and this team from Miami Country Day went back in 2015 and in 2017, and they won those national titles too. And I think it's the payoff, right? You get a trip, you get to showcase all the hard work you put, in all these months. It doesn't end once the state tournament ends. Certainly not for this program.
And then they go right from there to playing for their respective travel ball clubs.
The seniors won't, right? Just the juniors and under?
I mean, the seniors, some of them, depending on skill sets, you may have some opportunities with USA basketball. Some of them may enroll early, so they're up at their new universities, new homes, getting a lay of the land.
Nice hustle play there from Melanie Terry. Freshman guard, but can't get it off of the Spartans, who have certainly become the queens of the court here in the state of Florida.
They are the darlings.
And I mean, Swaby, he's here in his 15th season. Took him 8 years to get here to this stage and has not left since, right? He's figured out the recipe for success.
No, this does not happen overnight. You definitely have to put the work in, and he's done that. Been a fair share of solid programs to come out of South Florida, but I think he's definitely set the bar.
His team with a 15 seconds left to wait. And the last bucket here potentially going up before everybody can start the celebration. And we're gonna have a whistle to just stall things out even more.
Clock still rolling.
Congratulations to Miami Country Day and the Spartans. Coach O'Keel Swaby in his 15th season will win his 6th straight state title here inside the RP Funding Center. The fans really excited. Right there in the middle, Maria Alvarez, the only player on this team to be here for all 6 of those titles. Andrick, a pretty special moment for this program.
Absolutely, and again, I think the sky continues to be the limit for Coach Swaby and this ball club. Such a young roster, losing 2 important cogs, I think, in Alvarez and Love, but there's still a lot to build upon for Miami Country Day.
And they are going down in the history books with this 32-point victory against Carrollwood Day. They now become the 6th in a row state champions for the first time. Wow, that was awkward. They now have the longest consecutive win streaks in the state. How about that, Andrew?
No, that is awesome. Again, accolades just keep coming, and then you have a Carrollwood Day squad again. They have a lot to build upon. A very young team, not a single senior on the roster. Expect to see a lot more from them moving forward.
And they're hoisting up their leader, Maria Alvarez.
Please don't drop her. Just don't drop her.
Alvarez carrying this team on her shoulders, becoming a pillar for this program. And like Coach Swaby said, once she joined them, they became elite. On the other end, though, it's here with Kareem Nora and his junior class, Terry Anna Gary, that will look to find, that will to get back here, right? That's what it's about.
Right, and again, they have a very young ball club. So, sometimes we've seen this before with programs. You come up here a couple of times and you get knocked around and you finally get that one break. You win that first one, it becomes so much easier. Everybody
getting set for the trophy ceremony here inside the RP Funding Center. Andrew Frazier, Despina Barton here in the booth, and we're going to carry these images for you. But Andrick and I will step away with saying congratulations to the Miami Country Day Spartans The final score 62-30 as they go down in the record books for 6 straight state championships. I hope you enjoyed the game, and you know they're going to enjoy this celebration here tonight. So long for Andrew Frazier, our entire Spectrum Sports crew. I'm Despina Barton. 62-30, your final score here in the 4A state championships.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to center court. First, we recognize the players and coaches of the 2019 Class 4A State Runner-Up Team, the Carrollwood Day Patriots. And now, Mr. George Thomas will present the State Runner-Up Trophy to head coach Kareem Nora. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 Class 4A State Runner-Ups, the Carrollwood Day Patriots. And now we recognize the players and coaches of the 2019 Class 4A State Champion Team, the Miami Country Day Spartans.